Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Let There Be Talk. It is Thursday, January 5th, 2017. 5 days into the new year. And this episode is brought to you by my sponsor, Earthquaker Devices. Earthquaker Devices, you play any kind of musical instrument, you need to get a stomp box from these guys. They are the kings, the boutique pedal gods out of Akron, Ohio. Also, NAMM show's coming, and if you're going to the NAMM show, go to the booth. I'll be hanging out. You can try out all their pedals there. You can just plug in and just play bass licks on your grave. Remember that old prank call? I can't remember who did that. Remember those? I play bass licks on your grave. God damn, those old prank calls were fucking funny. A simpler time where the Jerky Boys and other stuff would just make you laugh your head off. Anyway, Earthquaker Devices, they got the curly cord. You need to get a curly cord so you look like Sabbath in 1970. I am Iron Man. Earthquaker Devices, they got the stomp boxes, they got amplifiers, they got t-shirts, all kinds of great stuff to make you a rock star. Are you tired of looking like a fool on stage with your generic pedals with shit tone? Well, you gotta get an Earthquaker device. All right, how are you guys? Here we are. Brand new episode today. Feeling good. It's shitty weather out. Looks like it's going to rain all weekend. Here it is, El Nino, the one they were talking about a year ago. It's fucking alive and well, a year off. Thanks for tuning in for that Kat Von D episode. What a way to fucking start the year off with that goddess. Right? Man, home run. One of the all-time biggest episodes on Let There Be Talk. There's nothing better than when you see somebody like Kat Von D that just has a massive, strong, super cool audience. Everyone loved the episode. Everyone but one person. I was looking at some comments. I don't even know why I do that. That's fucking the death. But everyone, I mean, hundreds and hundreds of emails and tweets and Instagram comments. And then there's just one. I didn't like him. He said his ideal paradise is eating lobster. It's like, oh, fuck. Fuck you. You missed the whole thing. I don't like the host. I couldn't listen to it again. Like, she just completely ignores that Kat and I are friends and everything. Like, I'm just some fucking stranger that knocked on her door. Hey, I'd like to interview you, you know? And another guy, he kept interrupting her. It's like, you ever fucking talk to your friends? It's not like a pro interview. It's two friends talking and we stomp over each other. That's how you are when you talk to your friend. Do you just sit there and go, okay, you finished your conversation. Now let me say my thing. Fuck you. Two people make me angry. Pushing my buttons. Yeah, not really. I just think it's humorous. There's always that one person that tries to be indie. I'm indie. I'll show you. I don't think the host was good. Who cares? I love all you guys, even that dummy. Anyway, Kat, thank you for doing the episode. Fucking just smoking. I'm looking forward to having her on again, man. That conversation was much too short for sure. Let's see what we got coming up. That was a little Tony on the intro. And probably throwing you off like, what? And like I've said a million times, I love all kinds of music. And my guest today, Big Jay Oakerson, and I reminisce about some of that early 90s R&B, like D'Angelo. Oh, my God, that Brown Sugar record. And Tony. And, of course, Terrence Trent D'Arby even before that, you know. But all that kind of, some of that 90s R&B. Tony, Bay Area, out of Oakland. Just great songwriters. And if you don't have that record, I just wanted to talk about it for a second because I had completely forgot about it until Big Jay brought it up. It's House of Music. It's just a fantastic record. Came out in 1996. Great, great record. Anyway, check that out if you're wondering why I had a little Tony on at the beginning. I wanted to, some people were, happy that sometimes I throw movie suggestions out. So I kind of dug into some of my classic films that are here. I've still got a shitload of DVDs. I didn't sell the ones, I don't know why, that I worship. I have no DVD player or anything. It's like, ooh, look at this case. I bet this case would be cool. It's just like so dumb. I'm not following the minimalist way of life. I watched the documentary. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to shave everything out and just have a hut of records and a couple outfits. But a movie that I stumbled across again that I remember seeing in the theater in San Francisco, just a indie masterpiece, Dogfight with River Phoenix. And if you haven't seen this film, do yourself a favor. It's an amazing, weird story about these Navy guys. San Francisco has Fleet Week, and I think San Diego, maybe some other places, where Navy guys would come into San Fran once a year and get tattooed and go to strip clubs and just get fucking loaded because they've been on the boat too long. I once read a story about some Navy ship was stuck out at sea way too long, and they stopped in like Australia or something where there's red light district, and basically just fucked for 3 days in the red light district. Imagine that. Just, oh! Anyway, Navy guys, the theme of the film is they get into San Francisco and they bet each other who could date the ugliest chick that they could find. Hence the word Dogfight. And it's an amazing film. And I actually rewatched it, and it's it just chokes me up a little bit because it backfires on River Phoenix. So watch the movie and watch how great River Phoenix is. Of course, in the just few films that he did do before he died, he killed it, My Own Private Idaho, Dogfight being one of a bunch of great films that he did there. Oh, let's see here. Big Jay is the guest today, and man, I love this guy, and I mean that. I find that some people in comedy are really genuine and super cool, and you find out right away in different ways. Big Jay being one, of course, Ari Shaffir being another, and you'll hear some amazing stories that Big Jay tells us today about his comedy career. And we talk music, but a lot of his comedy career, which is very inspiring to me. Him and Joey Diaz, the last couple of weeks, having comedians on and really getting to talk to them about their stories helps me. I didn't want to have comics on, of course, when I started the show because I felt Maron covered that and he kills it with it. But I do love the long-form conversations of seasoned veterans in the comedy world. Big Jay's been doing comedy 18 years. Hell yeah, we can all learn stuff from Big Jay. And to hear what he talks about on here makes you feel better, like, oh, I'm not singled out. I'm not the guy that nobody's going to hire or whatever. You find that a lot of unique and a lot of original comedians, it takes them a lot. I'm not saying I'm original, but I'm saying some people outside the box, it takes a lot longer. And I don't mind it taking a lot longer. I just love doing what I do. So I want people to come out. That's all I really care about. I don't care about fame or anything. I care about a full room. Let's have some fun, old school, laughing. Anyway, Big Jay, great guest. Second time he's been on. He was on a few years ago when I first met him and opened up for him in San Diego. And we decided to refire it up New Year's Eve. And we sat in the green room and talked again. It was awesome. And I'm looking forward to hanging out with him more in New York all year. Before I bring Big Jay on, some upcoming shows. Hollywood Improv. I'm headlining a Saturday night at the Hollywood Improv. It does not get cooler than that. You want to see me do a long set, don't sleep. Get tickets right away. 8 p.m., January 21st, Hollywood Improv. Also, La Jolla Comedy Store with my fantastic sponsor, El Cajon Harley. We're going to have a biker night. February 3rd and 4th, I'll be at La Jolla Comedy Store, but the late show on February 3rd is going to be a biker night. Ride your bike down, plenty of parking across the street. We'll have all kinds of bikes out there, and it's going to be wild. I'm looking forward to doing that. El Cajon Harley and myself plan on having a rockin' night for you. And Lucas Hurl's going to be on that, and my boy Sully McCullough. Crazy Legs from Don't Be a Menace. Let's see, Denver, one fucking night. This is important. Denver, one night. I'm doing a theater. Let's see if we can fill this thing up and fucking blast a theater. It'll be an interesting experiment here. Denver, February 18th, one night. Su Teatro Theater or Teatro Theater. I don't even know how to say the place, but find it. I know one cool thing. Ryan Adams played there before, so it's got to be a cool theater. Let's try to fill this thing up. Denver, February 18th, one night. Su Teatro Theater. Steve Henry's hosting. The Hurl would be with me. Lucas Hurl featuring. We're going to have a great time. Let's get into it right here. Don't forget, El Cajon Harley, my fantastic sponsor. Follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. My boy Mike Beach from Sons of Anarchy just bought a brand new CVO Street Glide down there. We went down, spent the day there. He picked up a badass bike. And so that's pretty fucking cool. El Cajon Harley kicking off the new year, still sponsoring Let There Be Talk. I love them. Hit them up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. All kinds of great stuff going on there right now. I don't want you guys to sleep. Do not buy your bike anywhere else. They have used bikes, they have financing, and they have great service department. El Cajon Harley. Let's get into it right now. Candles lit, Big Jay. Welcome to another episode of Let There Be Talk, live from the Green Room, New Year's Eve in San Diego. Big Jay and I here.
San Diego.
How are you, buddy?
I'm doing good. How crazy is it? It's raining here the whole
It's
time.
fucking pouring for 3 days now.
It's nuts.
It's just sleep weather, right?
Yeah, I remember when I was young, there was a song by Tony called It Never Rains in Southern California.
Tony. Man, that one album they had was fucking great. It had like them on the cover, like it was kind of a
They were
blue.
like spaced all
Yeah,
different.
that one. That fucking record slayed.
It's fantastic. It had Feels Good on it.
Yeah.
And then
I
all
love that
remember,
era.
Raphael Sadiq. That's the only guy I remember from Tony. I don't remember the other two Tonys, what their actual names were.
I got into. I saw Tony. Actually, they opened for somebody. I saw like maybe it was D'Angelo or somebody back in the day. You know.
Yeah, possibly.
That era was cool, right?
Oh, that was the best. That was the time, like the 90s was my like late teen years.
Yeah.
And that was like, that was a good time for like R&B, hip hop stuff. I can't get into any of the new rap now. It's tough.
Yeah.
Very few. Kendrick Lamar's good.
Yeah. I like Sage Francis. He's
I
like
don't know who
the
that
guy.
is.
He Red Band turned me on to him. But yeah, you know, and people. I love when people go like, "Oh, well, you're just old." It's like, no, that's not true because I'm loving all kinds of new music. It's
Sure.
just after a while, let's admit a genre is stale. You know?
Yeah, it's taking a shit.
Yeah.
It might be hip hop.
Yeah.
Hip hop may have taken the shit. Actually, I don't know. You know what? Maybe there is good new metal coming up, but I don't know.
Yeah, there is, man.
I'm not familiar with a ton of it.
God, I'll turn you on to some of this stuff I've been hearing lately.
I found some good new like rock bands.
Yeah.
That do rock. Not that they're new necessarily, but like, you know, I think the Alabama Shakes are fantastic.
Fucking great.
The War on Drugs. Have you ever heard of them?
Awesome.
Fantastic
Great.
band. Kind of like the Dire Straits. They sound like.
Yep.
But as far as like hard, like heavy shit,
Yeah.
I don't know who's new. That's like
Oh man.
that's great.
I love this band, and I can't stand their fucking name because I can never say it. But they're up for a Grammy, and they're called like Gorjaya or something from
Gojira.
Yeah, Gojira. Oh my God.
Are they good?
Oh, this record Magma. Oh fuck, it is. It's like Tool meets I don't know. It's kind of Toolish.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Tool.
Well, you would love this band.
They're coming out. I think I worked with them before. I may have just never got a chance to see them.
God, they are great from France, and they're up for a Grammy this year.
It's funny when I'd go on tour with with like Mayhem Fest.
Yeah.
And those like metal tours I would go on to like host them, I guess.
Yeah.
It's funny, like there's so few like good hard like rock music that they're forced to almost incorporate these bands that I would describe not even as like metal. It's like, that tight pants kind of rock. Devil Wears Prada.
Oh yeah.
Not even
those guys like Chemical Romance.
Yeah,
that
not even
kind of stuff.
not even shitting on
No, not at all.
on them, but like it's just like that's not what I would describe as metal. Asking Alexandria would be on a lot of those things, and they're like, they're very like pretty boy, like screamo kind of music. Which is
what's
not,
that one band? They're oh fuck, I forget. Like My Bloody Valentine or something.
Yeah.
Like those kind of bands,
Yeah.
I never got into that.
Bullet for My Valentine.
Yeah,
So
that's it. Yeah. It's all kind of the samey same, right?
Or they got that new thing, the girl and guy singing.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of together, like the Evanescence sort of thing.
Yep.
They have a lot of Lacuna Coils like that. And again, all good bands. It's just like no one's out there like doing like Tool like is so over the top like amazing that there's no one's been able to kind of like find that.
Yeah.
Kind of find that cult status in their music anymore, like a new band at least.
I think you're going to love this band, man.
Gojira?
Oh, my God, dude. I'm pretty blown away.
I think that name's taken off of it. That's what Godzilla is called, like, in Japanese.
Oh, really?
It's Gojira, yeah.
Oh, wow. I was wondering what the name meant. Somebody, actually, I saw Kirk Hammett from Metallica said, this is like the best record I've heard in a long time.
Really?
And I fired it up, and I was immediately like, holy shit. And then I was like, man, I've been sleeping. They got 4 records out, and apparently this one's not even their best one.
You know what people love a lot as far as like a newish band? Is Mastodon. People love Mastodon.
Love them.
They're
yeah,
great.
I saw Mastodon and Ghost together. It was a crushing night. Ghost.
They're fun to watch.
Yeah, they are, right?
I don't know any of their music by like by hearing it. I couldn't be like, oh, that's definitely Ghost, but like their live show is so like that Pope guy.
Yeah, I love it.
In the middle, it's so and they have great. Their merch and like symbols are so cool.
Oh, they are just getting a gold mine on the merch. I own all the shirts. They had the one where the Pope is Jaws.
Yeah.
And he's going up in the water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, I got to have that because I love anything Jaws.
Yeah, those guys. Yeah, those guys. I saw them. 2 bands that I wish I would have seen at night that I only saw during the day performing is Ghost, and the other was Cradle of Filth. Do you remember them?
Yep.
Cradle of Filth, watching them close side stage at Ozfest years ago.
Oh.
And just like that kind of dark Swedish metal show. And there's like, birds flying by, birds chirping and like a beautiful sunny day. It's like the
it's
wrong
wrong,
atmosphere
right?
for that.
It's wrong.
They're supposed to be at nighttime.
It's like comedy. When I did, you did it too. You hosted it, but the big tour. What's it called?
Oddball?
Yeah. Like I was on during the day,
Yeah.
Talk about oddball.
It's such a weird
I
environment.
felt like an oddball doing comedy outdoors in the fucking sun.
So it's exactly. It's like the wrong environment for what you're doing, particularly too.
Yeah.
Like I'm a bit of a, I don't know if dark comic is the right word at all, but I'm definitely like, dirty and a little gritty. It feels like it's supposed to be indoors.
Yeah.
Like this, in a dank basement.
Absolutely. Like
telling your shit at nighttime.
I get the vibe of that, especially in New York.
Yeah, it's even the worst feeling like in the summertime when whenever there's a show, like a first show's like 7 p.m. and you walk in and it's just bright outside still.
It's
and
wrong.
You're like, when you're walking in the door even, you're kind of like, this is not the right time for this. Like this should be happening later for sure.
I started at the Comedy Store, and I would do the open mics, the potluck, on Sunday and Monday. And when the clock changed forward, or back, or it would be
Yeah.
straight up at 8 o'clock daylight, and sunbeams would just be coming in there. So you're
Oh, because that's right. The window's right
Yep.
there in the front.
so you're a brand new comic. You're eating big fucking dicks, and it's just the sun shining.
Yeah, it's coming through. Everything's just wrong about it.
Yeah, now they got a fucking, after all these years, the Comedy Store is so dialed now. They got a black felt that goes over it.
It's like such a simple thing to have done. They just could have solved at some point.
Well, I think it's part of the thing of like torture the potluckers. You know what I
Sure,
mean?
that's
Yeah,
fair enough.
Fucking see you later.
What else? That club in I think it's the club in Dallas, perhaps, or it's like right outside of Dallas, but it's
Addison Improv.
Addison Improv.
Yep.
Like when you do shows there in the summertime and like it's still light out, like they have covers for the windows, but like doesn't cover them enough.
Yeah.
So it's like what you do see is like sun, like just like coming. So it's like everything. It looks like it's like glow in the dark around the blackouts
Yeah.
because like it's kind of coming through, and you're just like
Yeah.
it just feels wrong.
I remember when I used to do a lot of blow, and the blackout curtains would be not good enough, and that just one piece of sliver sunlight would find your eyeball, and it was
Yeah.
like vampire, just
Yeah, like the bloodshot eye opens up like Ren and Stimpy. You're
It's
like,
so
please,
fucking
God.
crazy. It's great to be here, man. It's I think we met like a year ago. Has it been over a year or
It's been
something?
over a year.
Yeah, when we
last time.
when we did this place together. And
It's
did
funny.
the
It's,
first one.
it's cool with those interesting times in life where you can pinpoint the date because we just got to find out when was Pacquiao versus
Yep.
Mayweather.
Exactly.
That was the thing.
We were in here. And this one will be done by Ronda Rousey getting her ass beat.
Did you see it at all?
Yeah.
Did you take a peek at the video?
I watched
mean,
the whole thing.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing last night when I got back to my room, and
Yep. Your lady was like, don't say anything. You were on stage. And I was like, oh. And I looked on Twitter. It was all over. And I go, oh, fuck. I just walked out. I didn't want her to see my face.
did she? Did you tell her what happened?
Nope. Because
She
she
had no
goes,
idea.
don't say anything. We're going to watch it after. And she
Yeah.
said that. And I had the phone in my hand like this. And I looked at her. And I go, poker face. I just walked right out.
You know what's happy? Or it's happy. What's funny is I had messages. How weird is there's Knights in White Satin is playing in the room out there. It's an odd one to rip out.
In a comedy club. Knights in white satin.
It goes all the way down to the poem at the end. Breathe deep, the gathering gloom.
I love it.
Yeah, the Ronda Rousey thing. My friends, like, were all on a text thread, and they go, "Oh man, did you see her just get manhandled? Like that was like getting jumped. Like it made her look like an amateur. Like amateur's not even the word, but they weren't saying who.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like safely like avoiding them. Like, oh, good, I won't know. And then like 2 seconds later, it was like something like proving the day. It goes just like right before we decided to watch it, like something on Twitter or something. I just caught like my eye for a second. Goes, Ronda Rousey got KO'd. I'm like,
But it's
I'm like,
still
well,
worth
there's a-
watching because it's such a
It
fucking
was-
handling.
It was she's done. That's
Yeah,
it. That's
yeah.
got to be officially it for her. But
Yeah.
I fucking don't like that she didn't do an after thing interview. She didn't do the press. She didn't have to go to. She didn't have to go to a hospital or anything. So I wonder why.
And she got paid. Just fucking man. Same thing last time when she lost. Remember? She got the fuck out.
and then doesn't talk until she goes on Ellen DeGeneres and says,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Well, she
kill-"
looks for a paycheck.
But she's
Like
like-
when they have babies, celebrities have babies. Who
They
can
sell
I
the pictures,
Yeah, who can
yeah.
I get the big money from to talk about my ass beating?
It's so. And then she did Ellen and said she thought about killing herself, which was so lame.
Yeah.
That made me so angry when she said that she thought about killing herself because you're like, her particularly that fight too when she lost to Holly Holm, her hands were wrapped. Like Reebok made her these special wraps for her hands,
Right.
that had the emails printed on them
Right.
of
$2 million bucks.
of like no, but it was about these. It was all these emails from people like like sick kids and people who had these lives where it was like
Legitimate
that
problems.
she inspired them to work hard and they they were so like into her and thanking her for being such a true hero and inspirational character in their lives. And then you're like, and then I lost one fight and I was like, I think I'm gonna kill myself. Like, you fucking twat, you dumb dildo. Like, why would you say some shit like that?
Yeah, now the kids are like, yeah, me too.
Yeah, you say, so if I have one setback in life, just kill yourself? Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So cancer, that's a pretty big setback.
Yeah, I had a
guess I'll
set
just
last
end it.
week. I wanted to kill myself. Oh my god.
Yeah, but no one's ever told me I inspire them
Yeah, exactly.
to live. But yeah, she's a weak character, man. Like that thing, and that she just did. She got handled.
She.
It was great though. I was happy to see. I didn't want her to win.
She reminds me a lot of like bands or, especially bands that just hit it like lightning speed out of nowhere. They blast to the top, they get all this money, and then their second record comes out and they're fucking done.
Yeah, just get exposed.
Yeah, overexposed. I think it's a great thing to talk about because you and like I've had Joey Diaz on lately and different guys. It's been a long, slow ride for you.
Sure. But
now it's really, and Burr said this to me too. He said, the slow ride's way better than the blast of these comics that get thrown into the world of fame and everything because you're going to have fans for years.
Sure, yeah, and that hopefully, you hope that's true. Because, yeah, you see it. I wonder, though, I'm approaching 40. I just turned 39, so it's not old by any stretch. And hopefully my 40s will be the years that, like...
Yeah, I'm 50.
Where it's like, yeah, I hope the 40s are the years where I have money and, like, build my fan base up more and able to tour around and do, maybe make my way. But, like, it is funny as you get to the mid-30s is the time. Well, I shouldn't say that across the board, but for me, I guess it was the amount of years in when you get to, like... 10, 15 years in, and you're kind of like, oh, shit. Like, maybe this is not going to ever, like, kind of pop.
Did you have those thoughts?
Oh,
yeah.
Nonstop, yeah.
Yeah.
I've cried more than an adult man should ever cry for things.
How many years you in?
18, I think.
Wow.
18, almost 19.
So around 15 it hits you. You're
around
just
15,
like, wow.
I was like, well, I was nervous that at 15 years in, at about 35, 36 years old, and you're going like, oh shit! Like, my bills are paid and everything's fine, but at the end of the month, you own $400 still. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
And you're like, okay, I got to build that back up to whatever thousands I need to pay the car, my daughter's school, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
All the overhead.
Rent in New York.
Yeah, rent in New York, 1,000 other things. You're like, we have to front money for flights. And all this shit, and I was like, "Wow, this is like it's scary now." Like I thought something would kind of hit, and like maybe nothing is gonna hit.
Were there times where it was almost like you were like, "Oh yeah, almost," and then it goes away?
No, my money never went up and down. It was always a steady increase. Opportunity in the sense of like work, sort of. Yeah, I mean, I did a TV show for 2 years called Z-Rock. That was a lot of fun. It wasn't a lot of money. But it was IFC when IFC first started, sort of. Like, first kind of was getting their foot in the door as a channel. And it wasn't watched by, like, a ton of people. And it did 2 seasons. And then there was, like, a big falling out with the network and the production. And so it went away and, like, doesn't really live anywhere now.
Right.
Like, it's not even in, like, repeats
so no
or anything.
Fucking dividend, no...
so no residuals and also just no, like, notoriety off of it, really, except for, like, the people that watched it when it was on.
Right.
And that kind of goes away. A couple years before that, just getting the new faces in Montreal, you're like, you hear so many stories where you're like, well, this is it. I'm going to go up there, and when I come back from this, I guess I'll get my development deal, and that'll be a couple $100,000 in the bank, and then we'll see where it goes from there. Nothing. I did New Faces, and it was
How many years were you in on New Faces?
I think I was doing it for about 5-6 years.
Wow. So I got no chance for New Faces.
I'd be surprised. What's funny? Kurt Metzger did New Faces 9 years in the comedy. Like, he did it 4 years after me. And I was up there doing the Nasty Show that year. Funny, that year I did the Nasty Show, they brought me back. Robbie Prawl was his first year taking over the festival. He works for Netflix now.
Right.
Right, but it was his first year taking over that festival. And his 2 big things that he fought for that year was to get me and Patrice O'Neill into the Nasty Show. Now, I made no blip on the radar at my New Faces, and in fact I thought I was just kind of out of the world of Montreal Festival.
Yeah.
And then when I got that Nasty Show, that was such a good thing in the wheelhouse of what I do, and that really that helped me a lot. The New Faces,
right,
or the Nasty Show, because then I got also my half hour on Comedy Central, and then after that happens, you're like, all right, as we were saying about being close, that happens, and you're kind of like, okay, like, here we go. I got a half hour special now. It's like, I remember not naive naivety, but like almost the boyish happiness of me being like, oh, this is like Comedy Central is dedicating a half hour of their programming to just me. It's going to be just me. This is a big deal. And I did it, and it went well. And then I just didn't get anything after it. So I fell off their radar, Comedy Central, for so long.
For years, right?
For years. And then that was 2008. And then a few years back, man, Ari Shaffir fought like a dog for me to be part of his storytelling show.
Right.
No other New Yorkers did it. It was all L.A. And he fought like a dog. And I found out very recently, actually, that he had lied to me and told me that they would fly me out but not put me up so I could stay with him and all this thing. But they didn't fly me out. Like, he flew me out.
Wow.
Like, he paid out of his pocket. He knew I was broke, and he took care of that. And that was something else to me, you know?
That's fucking incredible.
Really amazing thing for him to do.
I can't believe they wouldn't fly you out when you're doing the show.
No, they didn't want me to do it. They were actually pretty clear on that when I did it. But when I did it, it went very well.
Right.
And they had to pay attention. And then when I did it the second time, they did fly me out and put me up. And I was the only person from New York that time, too. But they were like a little more open to that. And then, you know, Schumer got her show, and they wrote a couple things for me to do in there. And then Louis gave me opportunities to be on his show.
Yeah, you were on the pilot, right?
Yeah, on the pilot.
And then season 3.
I'm like 2 other episodes.
I love that show. Still one of my all-time favorite shows ever.
It's great. It's a great show. So he's like he looked out for me in that regard. And then what happens also with Time In is the people who kind of come behind you, like Amy. You know, Amy was doing it much less time than I am. They see you in the clubs, and they kind of like what you do. You know, I think in LA it's a little different. I think the agents and people and managers are in the clubs a lot, but they're not in New York, really.
Right.
So in New York, like, you can be going in the clubs and getting it together and killing, you know what I mean, and becoming a beast in those clubs, but no one knows.
Right.
But the comics know. And then, you know, the Mark Normans of the world, these people who are getting things, say my name a lot. Jim Jeffries let me open for him at Carnegie Hall. Huge.
Wow.
That was a huge deal. Comedy Central was all there for that. And then I just kind of, through the grace of other people, got back on the radar with stuff. And then they took a look at me, and then it was just years later, and I was maybe just more ready for those things. You know, I've got the special and the radio show on Comedy Central Radio, and those.
You got the 1 hour special came out. It was fantastic. Shot at Webster Hall.
Oh, it was such a cool venue.
What a great gig. Now, also, it was, I think, kind of a great champion of a lot of people say, oh, if you do crowd work, how are we going to shoot? How are we going to do a special? They tell a lot of people that, you know,
Yeah.
oh, he's just a crowd work guy. It won't translate on a special, but yours was so great and original.
Yeah, they say that too. I know, that's why now we have a whole series of crowd work.
Yeah.
On CISO. It does work. It does translate too. You just got to shoot it right. You know what I mean? It's a matter of just capturing it.
Just have it mic'd. I mean, Russell Peters has been doing it years.
Yeah,
You know?
and the thing is, like, you don't even need to have them like mic'd so much. If you can kind of remember to kind of, you know, same way you have to do it in an audience.
Yeah,
kind of
say
like,
what they said.
You got to say what they said. You know what I mean? Like, hey, how long you guys married? When they say 10 years, you go 10 years. That's all the crowd needs.
That's it.
You know,
That's it.
the people in the back. If you can kill with crowd work in a club,
Yeah.
you can kill with it on TV, because the people, everyone behind the first few rows doesn't see what you're seeing either.
Yeah.
They're going by your description of it.
Yep.
You know, like, I did a crowd work album. You can't see anything, you know?
Yeah.
It's simply
Todd
me.
Berry did that crowd work tour. That was cool.
It's simply me describing the whole thing. So it's very doable, and it's fun. It keeps things more like you know, it definitely like comes to a point where they're like, hey, you know, they're doing Netflix, you know, half hours now, and I remember saying, like, you want to like try to put in for Netflix half hour? And I'm like, I do. I was like, but I'm trying to think if I have like, I think you have to film like probably 40 some minutes.
Yep.
And I'm like, I just shot my thing in February, you know, of this year. And I'm like, do I have 45 legit minutes now? I mean, I could do 40. I could go do an hour or so of stuff I've never said before on TV. But I'm like, how much of that is going to be like really working the, you know, I don't want to, you want to have the material to fill the time you have to fill. And then if you do crowd work in it, so be it. That kind of works out great, you know.
Absolutely.
But you don't want to go out there and just go, you want
crowd work.
You want to do 45 minutes when you only have maybe a legit and jokes like, you know, 30? Like, no.
Yeah. Because if
Like
you start with the crowd work and it doesn't go anywhere, then you're fucking.
You'd rather be over prepared for something like that. So, you know, But that's great. Netflix is diving in with that and doing that, though.
Yeah, I believe that the 30-minute to me is like everybody was always in a hurry to get an hour out, and they're only fucking 5 years in or whatever. And it's just like I just talked to Joey Diaz about it for a special doing comedy 25 years.
Yeah.
It was 18 years to do the hour. And Attell, he didn't put out, Ari was telling me he didn't do a record for 15 years.
Yep, didn't do a record. He's got one album. And he's got a half-hour special on Comedy Central, a half-hour on HBO, and 2 hours now.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, those guys going crazy. Bill Burr, I mean, God bless him. He's fucking hilarious. And Louis C.K., but I think I see them both getting ready to, like, dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, that special a year is just like...
Well, Bill believes in the 2 years. He always believes in that.
I think that's fair.
Because he thinks... He gets the stuff up and going for a year, and then he starts fine-tuning it. And by the end of like the second year, maybe 18 months in or something, then he's like, okay, I know where I'm at now,
Yeah. That's a good way to go about it. That's why I said I would like to do a special maybe at like the end of 2017, like something else.
Yeah.
But I think it's great because then I'll be over-prepared for it. Better to be over-prepared than under-prepared. The first one... when I got the first one, they could have been like, and you have to shoot it tomorrow. I'd be like, fine. Because like, you're just sitting on all this shit.
Yep.
All I've done was the half hour on Comedy Central years before and an album like years before. So, it's like it was never a... But now it's funny when you kind of like, get rid of all that material and something, you're kind of like, it really is like starting from like scratch. You're like, oh, my first few weekends after the special came out, not before... After I shot it, you could still do some of it.
Yeah, you're out just burning it up. You're looking at the clock like, all right, it's a couple months away.
You get those, exactly. And then when it comes out, like the next day, and you're on the road that weekend, you're like, I'm like...
Yeah, and there they are. Like, we just saw this stuff an hour ago.
Yeah, when you start the bit, you start looking at faces around the room. You're kind of like, oh, yeah. You guys know this one? You don't know this one, do you?
I hate it when the club puts, like, they used to put my closer on the...
The advertisement?
Yeah, because I only have one bit on YouTube. And it would be my closer. And it was, and every time I'd go, the closer was huge. And I'd do it and just tank. So I started telling him, dude, don't put anything on the site. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck, that's my closer.
That's so funny. But yeah, I've seen that happen before. That
they're just stone facing you, and that's your ending.
Oh, it's the word. Yeah, putting out like, it's a bit that's still on the set. You get to those Pulp Hero status things though, where like Brian Regan, like
greatest hits.
They want to hear
Hot
Pop-Tarts jokes.
You
know what I mean? Like, they want to hear the Hot Pocket. Like they're so into hearing the thing, and I'm like, that's so weird to me because I get it with music because music is you feel emotion. Yeah. Towards it, but like all things, like you can't laugh at the same thing over and over again.
I can't.
If you, the movie Old School is hilarious. If you watch it 8 times in a row, you'd stop laughing at it, and in fact, you'd probably stop laughing at it almost forever.
Completely.
You can never go back to it again because you just it's coming. There's no.
It's like magic. If you know the trick,
right? There's no surprise. There's no surprise necessary in music. You know what I mean? It's just something. It's a sound that catches you. In comedy, like there's something about like you don't know what they're gonna say, and then they say it, and then you're like, that's what makes you laugh about it. It's almost the surprise of it. Not that it's got misdirection jokes, but like they don't know your story, you know. So you're telling it to them. Once they know the story, you're like, why would you want to hear this again? Yeah, it's very bizarre. I mean, I get that. Like for nostalgia, I'll go back and I mean the way I laughed at Eddie Murphy Delirious the first time I watched it, and then the 5th time I watched it through my life, I was still laughing at it, but I could put on Delirious now and stare at it.
Yeah, me too.
I mean? It's not that I don't think it's funny or good anymore. I'm just kind of like, I just know it all.
Well, it's like I laughed. I got all the laughs out on that fucking thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And you got it memorized. The moves, everything, the eye, the twitch, everything.
The way he walked, you just know the whole thing, and you're like, well, it's not funny now anymore. You have to forget it for it to be something, you know? It's why I'll try to stay away from it. Like once in a while, I gotta go back. Like I said, it's nostalgia. I'll watch like Dice Man Cometh.
Yep. Yep.
You know what I mean? We talked about Dice the other day, and I was like, I'll watch Dice Man Cometh, and like, it'll make me laugh again. Like, seeing, 'cause I forgot.
Yeah.
You know, I forget how some of
what
them
makes
end.
me laugh is it's such a different era.
Oh,
So when you
yeah.
hear it, you go, oh, man, you know, that all the stuff that's going on it, you're like, wow.
For all the trouble he got in, man, could you imagine him today? Because here's the thing. I've kind of crafted into my comedy, not apologies, but disclaimers and explanations for like why you should not be upset at this.
Right.
And don't freak out about it and just laugh and have a good time. And I'm not a hateful person, and you're not talking to a racist here. You're not like, you know.
Yeah.
So you can just laugh.
You're not a homophobe. You're not a racist.
I kind of, so there's sort of disclaimer that, I mean, I make them funny, but I have these kind of built-in things to my set that explain that it's okay to laugh. Don't be a pussy about it. But Dice was unapologetic to a sense where he's like, you know, take a load on the face, you dumb cunt. Yeah. That's what you bitches are good for, taking loads on the, you know, stuff like that. And then he didn't make a thing where he's like, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or like, it's like, I'm just fucking around. You know, women are great. I'm just fucking around. Like, there was nothing. It was, he just committed to the thing.
Yeah.
And that was so, I'm like, I couldn't imagine what he'd be going through today. He's lucky he came out in the era he did. And he still had to deal with like protesting and being banned off MTV and shit like that. He still had to eat shit, and you know, the lady not doing SNL because of him, and which is ridiculous, and all that kind of weird protest. Today it would have been tenfold worse. Now he's novelty.
Yeah.
And you've also just circumstantially seen multiple sides to Andrew Dice Clay.
Right. He's got a family, he's got a wife, everything's, you know.
You hear him
then you start going, okay.
You see how much he loves his kids and how much he's about, you know, he's done a zillion interviews, and like, you know, he still lives the character, but he's, you know, for all intents and purposes, like a regular, normal guy.
Yeah.
So people know that he's not out, he's not a hateful, vengeful guy. So it doesn't matter what he does now, because like it's almost like a cartoon at this point. People kind of know.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, they're going to see that thing. It's almost like, man, nobody else does that. Let's go see this that's been going on. You know.
Oh, sure. Like I said before, they'll still put like, look, Tom and Jerry comes on some cartoon network somewhere.
Yep.
In your life that on a channel that we don't watch, but I mean, like, old Tom and Jerry is like crazy racist, but. There's no one writing a letter about it because no one's combing the internet for Tom and Jerry episodes. But I mean, like,
because they're not making money. They're not making money, so they're not trying to chop them down. If Tom and Jerry was #1 in the movies, it would be gone. You know.
Oh, if they just put out a Tom and Jerry with the same level, remember the black housekeeper that was always like chasing after them, and her voice.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And that's one of the craziest things is. You can go on YouTube back and watch like the real old like Bugs Bunny shit.
Oh yeah,
like Warner Brothers.
Yeah,
stuff.
that shit's crazy.
It's really racist.
Yeah,
no letters written at all.
No,
nothing. The social, and you know what's funny?
No bloggers. There is no bloggers.
And even with all that, like shit going on, and how racist that was, we got past it without. Like social justice warriors like crying about it and fucking writing a bunch of letters. It's just kind of, you know, people getting in charge, like enlightened people, you know, an evolution of people coming up and saying like, you know, it's like, this is racist. We can't, it's ridiculous.
Well, they recently were talking about remaking All in the Family, and people are like, oh, well, that show would never fly. It was so racist. And that was the whole point of Carol O'Connor. He was blowing out what these people were, and he was showing you how absurd that type of human is, and still to this day, people missed his whole fucking what he was trying to get out.
Yeah, he was the boob. Like he was the idiot.
Absolutely,
he said all that stuff, and he was the idiot.
And he knew that he wanted to do that on purpose. You know, it's just crazy.
But you're right. You would not be able to pull off even that satire these days.
No.
They won't. Because people don't get that at all. Yeah. Like I said, anyone that ever is like from a joke I've made or something, and I've made some wildly racist jokes in my career.
Back in the day?
No, in my career now and stuff like that. But I mean, like, if someone goes like, "Hey, man, you're like a genuine racist," if someone said that about me, who knew me for more than 5 minutes, I'd say you've never clearly met a racist.
Yeah.
Like a real racist, like is you worked you were in hardcore music for a while.
Yeah.
Like, you'd see those guys, those concerts. When I was on tour with Korn, or just at metal tours in general, when you get to these things, that world, you see him, and then you're like, wow, God, like, he's got so much hate for people that he's got, like, swastika, tattooed on him, and all this, like,
bands. You mean I never saw it with bands. I saw it with audiences that would take it wrong. You know what I mean?
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying in the music world, not the musicians.
Oh yeah, right.
Musicians tend to be artists.
Totally.
Like I said before, like
and then the people get the message wrong, and they show up like, I know what you're down for, and they're like, really? I'm not down for that at all. I guess you're just missing it.
I thought it was interesting with Korn particularly too, because there was like one of the shows where there was like I was talking to the lead singer about the fact that I'm like, man, there's like so many weird, like some of these cities, how he's like. You see these pockets of, like, skinhead guys, and he's like guys with swastikas on their neck and shit. Like, that's crazy. He's like, I know. He's like, I don't know. It's like, I'm so public about, like, who I am, like the lead singer. He's like, I'm so public with who I am. He's like, I don't know how we draw that audience sometimes because, like, he's like, my greatest moment in his career, he told me, was performing. They were, I think, the first metal band to play the Apollo.
Oh, wow.
In Harlem.
Right.
And they did this so it's on YouTube. You can watch the video of it. It's fantastic. And he goes, when he got off stage, Nas and Busta Rhymes were there, and they were saying like, "Holy shit, that was amazing!" Like they were giving him like props on it. And he was like, "That was the great like for Nas and Busta Rhymes to tell me that they thought I was good. Like, it was such a moment for me." And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, and still these white supremacists will pop out and be like, "Yeah, Korn." We get like Korn.
Yeah. I think it's their sound, like heavy music.
Just heavy music,
it's weird. It's a soundtrack for their rage. So they're like, yeah, but they're not even listening to the message.
It's rooted in so much hate, and we've done it on my radio show before, and I watched a documentary actually this weekend in my hotel room because I just got to look up weird shit to watch.
Yeah.
Or extreme shit sometimes, but like, I watched a documentary about like hate rock. It's really hilarious, quite honestly. If you could take it at face value for just being like, it's like they're just terrible songs. There's not one song where you're like, oh, I wish this wasn't so racist because it's a really great song. They're terrible
just
songs.
Bad music.
And you're like, they're interviewing the guy. You see him like tuning his guitar. I'm like, what are you tuning? It means nothing.
Yeah.
You guys just ram your instruments like as hard as you can and fucking scream.
Like dumb racist shit. It's
so
bad,
but it's laughably bad.
Yeah, we got 2017 starting tomorrow, man.
Crazy,
it's pretty wild how fast years go by, right?
It's really. I graduated high school in '95. You said you're 50, so you're older than I am even. But I mean, like it's zipping by. Everything is fucking zipping by. My daughter was born in the 2000s, 2002, and she's 14 years old now. It's nuts.
That's crazy, right?
Even I'm sure you feel it at 50, as I feel it. This is it. It's my last year in my 30s. Going into 40, you're just like, what? Like,
yeah.
There's a sense of when you were a kid, you were like, these were years that you were like, oh, I'm like an adult. I blah blah. Certain feelings you have that you're like, when I'm this age, you're gonna be like. Not that you're going to be wearing a suit every day or anything like that, but just like you'd have the world kind of figured out, and like now it's just living life, and I don't feel that way. I feel like a kid as much as ever.
Yeah, me too.
I enjoy playing, Madden on PlayStation. I like to go to concerts. I
hang out with friends late night and clown.
Bullshit with friends and smoke a little pot and fucking...
It's just high school. That's what I feel like comedy is. It's great. It's like high school at the locker in between classes, ripping on each other and sharing what song you're listening to or a concert shirt. And then, that's like life to me.
It's just, I mean, like, because I started thinking, I was actually thinking about that today. Like, weirdly enough, in my room, I was like, because Dan Soder is my radio partner on Bonfire. And, and Dan's 33. Now he's younger than me, but I always viewed Dan younger than me as like in some weird way that we're all in our 20s. But even my friends who I've known since I was in my 20s, like if I think about the fact that they're younger than me, but they're still in their like 30s, you know what I mean? You're almost like, wow, we're all like, the time's moving, but none of us seem different from when we were when we all met.
Yeah, right?
Do you know what I mean?
That's true.
It's very bizarre. Me and Kurt Metzger have known each other since we were 19 years old.
Wow.
19. And like, Kurt is 40 and I'm 39 and like...
Dan always seems older than all of us to me.
Soder?
Yeah. He's kind of seems to me like the big brother that'd pick us up because we're drunk at the party. Yeah. All right, you assholes, get in. I ain't going to tell Dad.
Yeah, he does have that vibe.
Yeah.
That's hilarious. But I mean, like, Kurt's a year older than me. I think Joe DeRose is a year older than me. But we've just all known each other since like our 20s. And like just our responsibilities have gotten more.
Yeah.
But at the core of what it is, like our interests are and our things, like it's still a bunch of like blockheads trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
It's so weird. But here's the 2017.
I know,
it's gonna
man.
be a good one for everybody, I think, man.
I'm loving been hanging in New York doing comedy. See you all the time, and Dan and a lot of serious radio. I love that part of New York a lot,
Like a lot of great podcasts going on. Well, LA's got that too.
Yeah, totally.
But it's just a whole new crop of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you've done all the
you do
Kill
all the
Tonys and
you do all the ones
Red
in
Bands, Punch Drunk and stuff.
Yep.
And then now I can do all. Yeah, when I'm here, I'll do all those. And then out in then when you go out to New York, that's what's great for you is you can kind of pop
to me,
in
it's
on
like all right.
And you get the radio shows out there. Get Bennington and Opie, I guess, is doing his thing now, and Sam and Jim. Yeah, it's like the Sirius radio in New York is great.
It is
really
great.
Is great.
I love when
that building's just fantastic.
It's
all right there.
And it's all pro. It's a one-stop shop.
Yeah, you came on Bonfire because we saw you in the hallway.
Yeah.
You're just in the hallway. Like, oh, shit.
That's what's fucking great, right?
It is. Yeah, you can just pop on another show. You're doing Eddie Trunk, right?
Yeah. I was doing
Eddie's
Trunk.
great.
I did him for 5 hours.
Really?
Yeah, I did the 3-hour show, and then I went and did you guys, and I came back over and did his show for the 2-hour night show.
Really?
Yeah, so it's like, man, it's so great,
That guy's a wealth of knowledge of music.
Yeah.
But it's always like hilarious wealth of knowledge of music. It's almost like he knows the substitute guys in Dawkins.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? That's great.
The third guy in Dawkins, he knows his UFO is his thing. They got like 33 records. He named them all. I was like, wow,
really?
Man.
I don't know if I could tell you a UFO song besides Doctor Doctor.
No, man, you got to dive into that shit, dude.
Yeah?
Get the live album. Oh, it is fucking epic.
Eddie Trunk on his radio shows turned me on to some deeper cuts from some bands that I thought I knew all their good ones.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, shit. Like, I'd say, because of Eddie Trunk, my favorite Deep Purple song is, now I'm going to fucking draw a blank on it.
Space Truckin'?
No, it's a long one. It goes, he does like these high-pitched screams in it.
Oh, yeah.
Why am I drawing a blank? We got to think of it.
Oh.
We got this.
Oh, fuck, I know a tune you're talking about.
Doon, 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 doon. It says it right at the beginning. Child in Time.
Oh, all right,
Sweet
got ya.
Child in Time. So great. And like I said, that was Eddie Trunk. Like that's like a deeper cut than I would have ever went on Deep Purple.
Yeah.
It's
Deep Purple, man. Ian Gillan.
No better voice maybe in rock ever.
Fuck, man. I loved when he sang in Sabbath. Born Again tour. Born Again.
But then he went like Ian Gillan now goes around and does like was it him or Blackmore? Someone goes around.
Oh no,
now,
Richie does the fucking weird like black folk.
It's like it's like that.
It's like
walking through the forest music.
Him and his wife. It's hilarious.
Hot pussy, dude. It'll get you every time.
Wow, it'll take you down.
Got you doing weird shit.
It'll take you down.
The poster for it looks like
it looks like Leprechaun Rock.
It's ridiculous.
Charm you with a cup of tea.
It's like the Hobbit music when they sang the song in the movies. Like,
yeah.
It's like Braveheart fight tunes.
Well, thanks for having me on this weekend again. It was great to work with you, man.
Great to have you here, man.
And I'm looking forward to getting out to New York all year this year and
yes, indeed, man. We'll see you a bunch, man. It's going to be great.
Yeah, it is going to be good, man.
Soon. It's happening soon.
Yeah. Happening soon, man.
Bye, Coastal Dino.
Yep. Fuck yeah. I saw Ari do it. I look at Ari. I look at up to Ari big time, man. I look at the stuff he's doing, and he didn't sit around and wait for somebody to give him something. He said, "Oh, you don't like this? I'm gonna go do it anyway," and fucking did it.
He's a doer, and he is. I think he's slightly autistic, but he is a great guy, and he loyal. A loyal fucking dog, man, and just a doer, and he fights for what he believes in, and he doesn't take shit from anything. You know what I mean?
Nope.
He definitely
he is the man.
He's a real deal, dude. Ari Shaffir. I can't say enough good things about him.
Well, thanks, dude. You got anything coming up?
When was this going to come out?
Come out on Monday.
Coming out on Monday, yeah. This weekend I'll be in San Fran at the Punchline.
Oh yeah, Punchline, my home city. Everybody
That's
go
right.
see him.
Cool, man. I like that town a lot.
Bay Area
Yeah, San
guy.
Fran Punchline, and then the weekend after that I'll be at the Thursday, the 12th. I will be in Florida at the Hollywood Improv, and then Friday, Saturday at the West Palm Improv. So if you're listening out there, yeah.
Thank you so much,
BigJComedy.com.
Thanks for everything, dude.
Thank you,
all your
dude.
help and everything, man. I love you,
Please, man.
dude.
I can't wait to hang out with you in New York more.
Check out his special, and also you can listen to his shows, Bonfire and Legions of Skanks.
Yes, sir.
And what's the other one?
SDR show, yeah.
You got 3 fucking shows.
It's killing me.
I love it. Hey, everybody, leave a review and subscribe to this podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Candles lit.